What's going on, Neon Nation? Welcome back to the Neon Arcade for some more Cyberpunk 2077 and Cyberpunk 2077 news. Today we have a cryptic tweet sent out by CD PROJEKT RED and Cyberpunk 2077 and some clarification about it, a new multiplayer job listing from CD PROJEKT RED, an Alienware training event, and a potential 2077 leak of sorts, and some countdown to the dark future details highlighting a cataclysmic event in the lore of Cyberpunk. First, we have our art section where we highlight some community creations focused on Cyberpunk 2077. First, we have a really neat Arabic Cyberpunk 2077 wallpaper mockup from Shadi Kabesh, who seems to be doing visuals for Vice. I've always thought Arabic looks really clean and really cool, and it goes amazingly with the 2077 font style. Next, we have a meme from the king of 2077 memes, Dogs of War aka Stout, with this quality edit. I think we're all low-key fantasizing about this scenario. Getting right into today's news segment, we first have an interesting leak via Reddit that was later deleted involving Alienware and Cyberpunk 2077. This was initially discussed on our Cyberpunk 2077 community podcast, so thanks to Mad Queen and Ivan GT on Twitter for some of these developments. In this deleted Reddit thread, a verified Alienware employee created a post titled, "Attended a training event for my job last night. I have reason to believe Cyberpunk 2077 is coming out this year." Again, this is from a verified user and goes on to say, attended an Alienware hardware training event last night and they had promotional material for their new laptop plastered all over the wall. A Cyberpunk 2077 edition that was coming later this year, but they couldn't tell us when or what exactly the partnership would entail, and they had not received permission from CDPR to announce it as of yet. Our trainer implied that they would announce the hardware partnership when CDPR announces a release date, which is not too far away. He does go on to say that this is indeed speculation, but the assumptions are reasonable. A Darksiders edition of an Alienware laptop launched with the Darksiders game, so this gives more weight to these rumors. Now, Alienware obviously has some sort of partnership with CDPR and have been collaborating in marketing efforts by having Night City and Cyberpunk 2077 referenced and shown in tweets and trailers, mainly for their new Area 51M gaming laptop. This, in combination with the plethora of rumors, leaks, and speculation, all saying end of 2019, just adds another brick to this wall of arguments for a 2019 release. Next up, we have Cyberpunk 2077 tweeting soon early last week with seemingly no context until some clarification later in the thread where they mention it's in reference to the opening of their US merchandise store. If you guys are unaware, the CDPR merch store opened up in the European Union and offered merchandise from The Witcher, Cyberpunk 2077, and Gwent to people that were waiting to rep their brand and games. Now, I was in the Cyberpunk 2077 Discord as people were speculating on this when Lileya, CD PROJEKT RED's community manager, tried to clear some of the confusion. She mentions that this was supposed to be a reply in the thread and not its own tweet. Now, to be fair, these are not accidents, these are likely well thought out tweets made to look like accidents and meant to lead to confusion and thus speculation and attention. This is part of how companies drive hype and attention to their games, but of course they have to deny these things and always keep us on our toes. Just as an aside to the tweets that the Cyberpunk 2077 Twitter has made, I'll also be keeping my eyes out for a potential dev diary or documentary from the CDPR team based off of this tweet. The tweet reads, "I hope CDPR and Cyberpunk teams are making a documentary like Santa Monica Studios did with God of War," to which they responded with, "Who knows, ... Next, we have a job listing for a lead game designer for CD PROJEKT RED. This was found by a subscriber of Last Known Meals and highlighted in one of his videos, so you can check that one out for additional information and some more dedicated coverage. In essence, this is a listing for a lead game designer who will help guide the team and supervise the design of gameplay systems and online mechanics in CD PROJEKT RED titles. Now, usually job listings come tied to a game title that job is in relation to, but on this particular listing, there is no title, meaning it's very likely that it's related to a new CDPR game and could be the AAA title they want released by 2021. Now, this does seem to specify that it is indeed for an online-based game, and some of the responsibilities include directing the gameplay design around fun mechanics, reviewing gameplay and balance, and ensuring that the design and gameplay experience are of the highest quality. CDPR and their foray into true online experiences is something I'm incredibly excited to hear more of. Recent leaks are also suggesting a teaser of sorts from the new IP will be dropped at E3 2019, but then the rumor goes on to say it will release in 2022, after CDPR has explicitly said by 2021 and that they're focusing on 2077 for this particular E3. I do think there's a slight possibility to see an incredibly vague teaser trailer which could help carry the hype to the CDPR brand, but this is likely more of a long shot. Next we have some official forum answers from again Lileya, CDPR's community manager. These are random questions but give us some insight into the world of CD PROJEKT RED and Cyberpunk 2077. In a thread regarding if ideas pitched within the forum by fans during the developmental process was incorporated, Lileya says that they'll leave that for you to find out. Seems to me though that they've looked at the community for feedback and forums for inspiration in Cyberpunk 2077. In a question regarding aesthetic and design changes to the game and some concerns that the game will deviate from what the original poster thought was an amazing gameplay reveal aesthetic, Lileya responds that changes are super common to pretty much every single aspect of the game, which includes art and graphic designs. Artists are constantly improving their work so they can tell the story accurately. From her perspective, there's nothing to worry about and you'll like what you see. This hints at some aesthetic changes, for likely the better when it comes to 2077. This comes along with recent news of the game being quite different than before, and some older news from Adam Badowski specifically mentioning that after the release of the 48-minute gameplay reveal, that they'll still be modifying net running, how weapons behave, driving physics, facial expressions and animations, and that what we've seen is very much a draft version. In our final forum question, we have a revelation that CDPR will have something exciting when it comes to cosplay in the future, so keep your eyes open, your sewing machines ready, and your cyberware nearby. This hints at a Cyberpunk 2077 cosplay competition of sorts. Finally, we have some countdown to the Dark Future episodes regarding an important moment in the world of Night City called the Collapse. This is a series dedicated to understanding Artal Sorian Games' source material of Cyberpunk 2020, which Cyberpunk 2077 is largely based on. In episode 128, we learn about the nature of the collapse and that no single event contributed to the dark future of Cyberpunk 2020 more than the collapse, a market implosion which devastated the US and rocked the world economy. In episode 129, we learn about the history of the collapse. By the early 90s, the Gang of Four, which includes the FBI, CIA, NSA, and DEA, had been covertly working together to manipulate the United States politics and legislation. This was driven largely by the lust of power. In 1993, the Gang of Four were worried about the rise of the European Economic Commonwealth as a world power and started hacking European and Asian stock markets to bolster US corporations and currency on the market. This was inevitably found out by European agents and taken to the world press, resulting in the crash of '94, which devastated the American stock market. Without the number one power, the US, at the forefront, and without another country willing to step in to assume the role, things started to fail. In episode 131, we learn about follow-up events after the crash of '94, which led to the collapse, including a covert war waged by the Gang of Four in Central and South America as a diversion. As a result, resources had to be pumped into military and security operations, leaving little to rebuild a shattered economy and infrastructure. A dying and polluted environment led to the events of the actual collapse. Thanks for watching, guys, and for everything and anything Cyberpunk 2077, join Neon Nation and subscribe to the Neon Arcade.